Every day, approximately 9 people are killed and over 1,000 are injured by distracted driving. 3,166 deaths occurred from distracted driving in 2017. This was 8.5% of total traffic fatalities. 42% of these deaths were from the age of 15 to 29. 53% of those included drivers who were on their cell phone. Policy needs to be created to combat the severity of distracted driving because of the chronic use of cell phones. I've researched this topic and read through several government documents. I also have collected data being a driver for the last 7 years. Today, I will talk about distracted driving and how it is affecting overall safety on the road and why we need policy to reverse this. First, I'll talk more about the data related to distracted driving. Second, I will talk about our phones and the fact that they are becoming an addiction. Lastly, I will talk about possible safety policies and ones that have been created in the past. Now, let's look a little bit deeper into the numbers. Cell phone use while driving has largely stayed the same since 2006 in drivers between the age of 16 and 24. In 2006, 4.8% of drivers were observed using a handheld phone. This number has now grown to 2.9%. This was because people are now switching from talking on the phone to texting. Visible manipulation of a handheld device, i.e. texting on a phone, someone can see you in your car texting using a device, was low in 2006 at only 0.6%. However, this number since then has increased by over 200%. While the type of use has changed over time, the total number of teens and young adults using their cell phones while driving has stayed about the same. And it's changed into holding your phone and not looking at the road, which is a more severe form of distraction rather than just talking. Now that I've talked about the overall trend in the data, let's talk about why electronic devices are so good at taking our attention. Phones are an addiction. Just like the sugar in this soda, every once in a while, I feel the absolute need to look at my phone or the absolute need to have a little bit of sugar. There's nothing I can do about it. It's a force that I can't control. Cell phones are doing this by becoming more and more complicated. They're being taught how to solve more and more of our problems. And because of this, consumers are getting more and more hooked. The debate surrounding cell phone addiction is still being waged. The other theory is that people may not have the ability to control their own impulses. Only a small subset of people, not that all are getting addicted to phones. Personally, I see little difference between the two. If you can't control your impulses while behind the vehicle, it's still just as dangerous to being addicted to the thing that's in your car. And this is what's causing people having a harder and harder time to stay non-distracted while driving. If people are not able to put the phone down, we need a solution that takes the human element, out of the equation. In order to ensure this positive change, we need a federal safety standard to be created. The tactics used right now are government campaigns geared towards enforcement, so giving police officers more time and more resources to look for those who are using their phones while driving. Social normalizing, campaigns to get people to talk about the fact that it's a problem so they will spread it so that people are less motivated to use their phones. And of course, boosting awareness, posters, telling people that they should tell their kids that, and so on. These actions are worthwhile and they should continue, but they have done very little to change the numbers in a positive way. New policy created to ensure driver safety is not a new idea. In 1968, a policy was created requiring seatbelts to be placed in all new cars. Every single car from then on out must have seatbelts. In May of 2008, there was a similar law created that forced vehicle manufacturers to then put backup cameras in all cars after 2018. So, to ensure public safety, we need a policy that builds on those of the past. A policy that requires phone and car manufacturers to install software that is programmed to recognize a driver's phone and limit functionality while the vehicle is in transit. I talked about the unchanging trend of distraction, the thing that it is in our cell phone that we are slowly becoming addicted to, and what must happen to reverse it. We must acknowledge that distracted driving is not going away, and that we need new policy to end this problem. People are far from perfect. We love a good distraction. So in order to take the problem out of the hands, we need a permanent solution to good policy change. Until we make the right steps, thousands of preventable deaths will occur each year. Most of these fatalities will be the youngest members of our society.